Well, welcome to a special edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm here with Mr. Tom Marshall at the amazing Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Tom, first of all, with the stadium, obviously it's just amazing looking at it. This huge, huge screen. What do you think?
No, it's the type of place you must walk out of the tunnel as a player and just be like, wow, I want to perform in these kind of places. The only thing I'd add is that, just looking behind us now, the pitch looks awful. I mean, it really does. Like, I've seen a few bad pitches that Mexico has played on over here in the United States, but I think it might equal the worst. I don't know. And there's less than 24 hours now to kick off, so there's not much time to sort it out.
It looks like there was a college game a couple days back, and there was artificial turf there, and now they went ahead and laid it. But the team did not have a chance to practice here at the field. They're going to be practicing somewhere else, and it's not open to the media or to the public. But we'll see. We're going to be practicing. Hopefully, we can get you some reports from there. But let's go ahead and talk. We talked a little bit about the press conference. Tuca, you mentioned we could see a line of five, but let's go a little more in that. Switching back and forth from 4 to 5, and then U.S. going back. And what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, though. I mean, Ferretti's been in charge, a couple of weeks. He's had like less than a week to work with the players. And I think he's kind of reverting to what the players know with Herrera. I think he saw against Trinidad and Tobago like quite a few fundamental problems about, especially defensively. And I think he's gone back and he's like, these same players know Herrera's system. Let's try and implement that. I mean, it's not ideal. But he did say, Ferretti, that what we're going to see tomorrow might not be the same as what we're going to see against the United States. So it's just a complete unknown. But I think this was the nature of the beast when Herrera got fired and Ferretti came in as an interim. I mean, he just doesn't have a lot of time to work with the players, and maybe it's the intelligent thing to do to go back to what they know, you know?
Yeah, how do you see him, for example, he was, joking around in the press conference like he normally does, answering some questions. I got a chance to ask him if there was a maybe a rule that some of the players didn't get to post as many pictures as they normally do. He said there's no rules. He doesn't have a Twitter or a Facebook. How do you see him in the press conference? Very big difference from Piojo. Long responses. But ultimately, what do you take from his press conference style and the information he gives out? Not as much information that you would kind of want from the national team. Like Piojo would tell you, these are my 11. This is what I'm doing. Tuca a little more reserved.
Yeah, I don't think reserved. I think he likes to keep. There was a key phrase the other day in his press conference after the Trinidad game. We wash laundry. I'm translating it here. We're in house, So we wash our dirty laundry in house. We keep everything behind closed doors, which was different to Miguel Herrera, who would come out and say the problem and say what's going on. But I think that's Tuca's style. I quite like it. I think he looks really comfortable in the role as national team coach. But it's all about the results on the field, and it's all going to come down to that one game against the United States. They could get beat 5-0 tomorrow. I mean, look at Argentina's team. It is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
They've got absolutely great players. It could happen, but I think Ferretti will be judged finally not on one press conference or the other press conference. It'll be all about if they beat the United States, Ferretti will be like a national hero. If they don't, then it'll be like questions again. Why was he named? What's the federation doing to get the right coaching? So yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but it will be, knowing the Mexican national team.
Tuca, also, we're trying to get a little bit more on his starting 11, especially the captain, armband. He didn't really say who's going to be the captain, but he kind of referenced maybe he's going to be probably Guardado again, something we've seen already.
I think it'll be Rafa Marquez in the end. I think it will, but I mean, we'll see tomorrow. But I think that we've seen a couple of reports coming out now that it is going to be that line of five.
Mm-hmm.
I think up front's going to be Chicharito with Raúl Jiménez, and Carlos Vela might well be on the bench, which is interesting to see how he takes that.
Especially in what we're seeing, it looks like it's going to be Piojo's formation, the back line of 5. It was, and now that we're coming out, which we talked about it, kind of going back and forth. What about the result? They were asking Tuca Ferretti, what can you get out of this game? What's the most important? And he didn't really go with the result. He just said on the way the team's playing, make sure you get something out of it. What do you think is more important for Tuca to get from them tomorrow? Because it's the number 1 team in the world. It's Messi, the number 1 player in the world. I mean, even though we're looking to get a good result at the same time, we have to be careful because our defense isn't playing that well.
No, yeah, he wants to see a performance. I don't think he actually cares about the result. I think that's Ferretti's personality. I think he'd obviously like a good result for confidence, but he wouldn't get carried away even if they beat Argentina 2-0. So yeah, it's about the performance, collective, individual, and I think more than anything the system. I mean, is this 5 at the back, is it going to work or not, you know? Or is he going to once again have to have a big think about how he's going to go into that game against the United States? So it's going to be interesting. And I think the other thing to point out is I think this is going to be very close to the 11 that we see against the United States next month. And so it is really important to see that they do come out and they look good together and with Ferretti instead of Herrera. So,
do you think it's still that we probably won't see any new players that we saw? I mean, maybe everyone's been asking, obviously. I mean, I have Gio, Ochoa, Jonah, but you think, this is with the core and let's go ahead because there's no more games.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be called up unless the injuries kick in. Like we've seen, and then I think Jonathan Dos Santos might potentially come back in there, but I think it depends on the injuries. I think if everyone's fit, they won't be called up.
Another recent news that we got there at the press conference is we'll touch on it's Alan Pulido. Alan Pulido's news came out that pretty much in favor of Tigres and Club, and they were Ruben, from Fox was able to ask him a question on it and what did he thought and is he going to play? What were your reactions from Tuca, especially saying that Pulido's just another player if he comes back from the club and he'll have playing time if he's the best and he's fit and ready to go?
Yeah, I mean it's just such a weird story, isn't it? I mean, both of them. Pulido adamant that his contract was forged, and the club adamant that he had a contract, and he was like, which way is it going to go? I mean, Pulido now is in a really difficult situation. He's not as young as he was a few years ago when he was bursting out on the scene. I think he's 24 now, coming on to 25. So at the end of the day, he's got to put this behind him as quickly as possible as a player, because let's not forget he was in the World Cup. He's a top player. He needs to put it behind him. He needs to get playing, whether that's at Tigres, which I think is unlikely still, or Chivas or anywhere else. He has to sort this out now. He has to get playing because if he starts banging in a few goals, he'll be back in the squad quite quickly, I believe.
Now, and a little bit, but before we end the show, a little bit about the Tata Martino. Talking about Mexico. A lot of the Mexican reporters asking him what does he expect from Mexico, but a lot of respect from Tata Martino to the Mexican team. Saying he's got quality players in Europe. What were your takes on Tata Martino on the Mexican team and what he's going to bring out for tomorrow?
Yeah, he was interested in his key phrase for me was, out of all the national teams in the world, Mexico's one that's most developed over the last 20 years. And it's always interesting to get his perspective with someone like Martino because he's so well respected. And I think that he's. I think we hear this a lot. I mean, Mexico's style, I think, is what impresses people more than anything else. Mexico go out, always try and get possession, always on the attack. And I think, especially in the Argentine game, you get people like Bielsa and Martino who are always going to respect Mexico a lot because of the way they play and because the players are so technically good. I mean, I think that the great hope from the Mexican point of view is that they can mesh that technical style with tactics and with more steel in the play. And I think if they can mesh all that, then they can advance even further. But it's easier said than done.
Definitely. Well, let's hear just kind of reactions from Tom and I. Tom, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game. We've been talking about it on the way here. Our defense isn't looking the greatest. Rafa Marquez, I could just see, Kun Agüero, Messi just running circles. Your prediction for tomorrow, and what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think there'll be a few goals. I mean, I think that I'm going for maybe a 3-1 Argentina. I think Mexico will get a goal, but yeah, you look at Messi and it looks like Tevez is going to play and Correa might make his debut. So it's a good Argentina team. There's no doubt about it. And considering Ferretti's had so little time in charge, it's going to be very difficult for him to get out of the players what he'd like to.
Definitely. So we'll see. I'm going for at least, 3 goals, 4 goals from Argentina. And hopefully Mexico can score. I think we can. I think we have the players that are doing them playing together. So, well, this is us from the Cowboy Stadium here. This amazing stadium, like I've been saying. We'll be giving you more live updates. Argentina is getting ready to also train. And then also whatever happens with the Mexican national team. This is Tom Marshall, and we so for the Mexican Soccer Show.